Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to shorter attention, what I was doing and things like that. Hopefully it helps you out. You know, hopefully. How's it going, boys and girls, and happy Friday. Today we're going to continue on with the Combat Trauma Healing Manual, Chapter 2, and we're going to talk about secondary trauma and how it can affect your spouse, your children, things like that. But before I do, I wanted to talk about a couple things. Tomorrow at 8 a.m. we're going to be up at Smithson Valley High School running the Melon Run. Still have 2 free tickets for that, so if anybody wants to come run, let me or EJ know and we'll be able to facilitate that. We do still have tickets available for our Tournament of Heroes. We're still looking for teams for that. Again, it's going to be $300 to register a team of 12, and we're hoping for co-ed teams. And then finally, our t-shirts are still for sale. They're $15, and they come in all shapes and sizes. So don't forget to help out Otter 22 with that. So today I'm going to cover secondary trauma, and I'm only going to glance over it just because that's how much information was given in the Combat Trauma Healing Manual. Now, the other book is actually dedicated entirely to that, but I'm going to give a quick overview of that. So basically, your family member, whenever they come home from war, is different in one way, shape, or form. Either they're always angry, anxious, depressed, they don't want to talk about stuff, they're not very compassionate, they're not very loving, very what's the word I'm looking for? Dang, words skipping my mind. But basically, they're not being that lovey-dovey person that you fell in love with. And that might be because they're always angry, they're always anxious, or they're always depressed. Now, these symptoms can bring a new context to home life because now you, as the spouse, or you as a child, have to work around them to have a happy home. So, for example, if they're always angry, you might feel like you have to walk on eggshells to prevent them from going off. If they're always anxious, you might be worried about communicating, how you feel, communicating about the relationship, things like that. And then if they're always depressed, you might have a lack of excitement going on in your life because you're not doing anything. You're staying around the house, you're not going very far, and that's affecting you. Now, these symptoms and the changes to home life can actually bring about PTSD symptoms in your spouse. And I'm going to use a quote out of the book here. So the spouse can begin to manifest the same PTSD symptoms as the combat veteran, or sometimes different ones, and will need the same care. Secondary trauma can show up in children as well. So basically, if you are suffering from PTSD and you're not seeking help, you're not doing anything about it, you're not trying to get better, ultimately you can affect the people you care about in a very negative way, and they can ultimately develop those same symptoms. So now you've turned one problem into 2. So that's why I keep harping on the fact if you guys are, you feel like you're suffering through this, you need to talk to someone. So there are a couple ways that you can fight, and you can do it together. So basically, first thing you want to do, if you're a couple and you want to make the relationship work and you want to prevent secondary trauma and you want to get better yourself, is let's see. So the first thing you want to do is seek couples therapy. That's where you got to go. The therapist can ultimately help you, if you're suffering from PTSD, see your spouse's side of the story, and as well as your spouse, the therapist can help see your side of the story and help find some common ground there. You can help work on communication skills. You can work on boundaries in your relationship, which is actually the second part of that. You want to set boundaries. And now these are both boundaries that you and your spouse have set up as far as where you want the relationship to go, how you want to raise your family, how you want your recovery to go, because that's key. You can't sit inside of a, and you can't constantly go to group therapy for the rest of your life and not see any results. Like, your spouse is going to expect some results. On the other side of that coin, your spouse has to be understanding, which is my third point here, has to be understanding that sometimes traumas can take a lifetime to overcome. Now, both sides of this coin, they have to be understanding. Your spouse has to be understanding that you are trying to get better, and you have to be understanding of your spouse that they're sacrificing a lot of their time and their energy and their effort just to stand by you. So it's a give and take, but as long as you're both willing to work at it and work towards it, you can both come out successful there. So I mean, war was hell on your spouse, and it would be difficult for them to adjust. But again, as long as the foundation is solid and they continue to seek help and you continue to support them, the both of you can lead towards a better life. And again, I will go into further detail in this next book. This was just basically how it was covered inside the Combat Trauma Healing Manual. The last thing it did mention was that outside of couples therapy, boundaries, and things like that, they did put in there go to church together, just so that you can both try to work on your relationship with God. Now, the first 3 steps, if you don't have a religion, you want to make a relationship work, I recommend following those 3. And then the last one is, if you do follow a religion, whatever it is, go to church together, go talk to a pastor, talk to someone together, so that way the 2 of you can find out what both your needs are and figure out a way for the 2 of you to meet those needs. So yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna knock out some push-ups here, and we will get out of here. Stay. That's gonna fall. Continuing on, AC/DC. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned. I got a couple more things to cover in chapter 2. And you guys have a great Friday night.